Ahead on Newsbeat, history is made in Washington, D.C. as Barack Obama takes the oath of office, becoming the nation's 44th president.
And throngs of people pack the streets of Washington, D.C., but a full list of inauguration events right here on campus. Newsbeat starts now.
From the Tiger TV studio in Hodges Hall, you're watching Newsbeat with Olivia Vidal and Stephen Calamusa. Weather with Alexandra Cranford. Sports with Hobie RT. And entertainment with Melissa Clark. Newsbeat, I on LSU.
I, Barack Hussein Obama,
I,
solemnly swear
Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear
that I will execute the office of President to the United States faithfully.
that I will execute
The office of President of the United
office of
States.
President of the United States faithfully,
And will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
The first words today from the 44th President of the United States, Barack Hussein Obama. All eyes were on the steps of the U.S. Capitol as our new Commander-in-Chief placed his hand on that Bible, taking the presidential oath.
More than 4 million people braved the cold weather to witness this moment. Millions more watched from their homes as a new chapter in American history began. Hello, and thank you for joining us on this Inauguration Day. I'm Olivia Vidal.
And I'm Stephen Calamusa. Thanks for joining us. We've got complete coverage of the inauguration from Washington to Baton Rouge.
Students around campus took some time away from class to watch today's events unfold. Tiger TV's Natalie Messina joins us now with more on how some students are celebrating this moment. Natalie?
Olivia, the journalism building was packed today with students who took time out of their class schedules to watch the nation's 44th president take office. About 75 students were in the Holiday Forum to watch the inauguration events from Washington, D.C. on TV. A slow stream of students came in around 10:30 this morning, but by noon the room was packed just before President-elect Obama took the oath to become President Obama. Now, most of us have seen inaugurations before, but this one is historical in its own way, with Obama being the first black president, and that could definitely be felt in this room today. Stephen, back to you.
The Student Union was also a popular spot for keeping up with today's inaugural events. Inside the Cotillion Ballroom, the crowd tuned in to network coverage. The watch party was sponsored by Campus Life, and it was a spirited event. Those who attended threw up their hands at times and nodded their heads as Obama gave his inaugural address. One student says he can't believe that he's living to see the nation's first black president take office.
It's really cool, hearing all the speeches, and you don't realize how far we've come as a nation in just 40, 50 years. So it's really awe-inspiring, and it really does give the nation a sense of hope and, inspiration.
A 60-inch TV screen was set up in the Cotillion Ballroom for the watch party with hundreds of students in attendance.
On the other side of campus, in the West Campus Apartments activity room, students watched Obama take the presidential oath.
It's a big thing in history, so it's just like when Martin Luther King had his march, it's something I wanted to be at then. So, it's something I'm missing again in history, and it should be in the history textbooks and everything else.
I'm a very proud American right now. It just feels great to know that a black, not only black man, but it's a change in America, something we really need.
The event was sponsored by Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. About 25 of people showed up to watch the inauguration there. They had snacks and visited with each other during the inauguration coverage.
The Obamas started their day early, even before all the pomp and circumstance on the west side of the Capitol. After a traditional visit to St. John's Church, the Obamas had coffee with President Bush and Laura Bush. Then it was off to the Capitol, where Obama focused his inaugural address on Americans taking responsibility for our future.
The time has come to set aside childish things. The time has come to reaffirm our enduring spirit, to choose our better history, to carry forward that precious gift, that noble idea passed on from generation to generation, the God-given promise that all are equal, all are free, and all deserve a chance to pursue their full measure of happiness.
We now have breaking news out of D.C. Just minutes ago, Senator Edward Kennedy of Massachusetts collapsed from a seizure at a luncheon with the new president. MSNBC is reporting that he was wheeled out by a stretcher and taken to the hospital. Senator Robert Byrd of West Virginia was also escorted out of the room. No word yet on Byrd's ailment.
Still to come on Newsbeat, how long will this cold snap last? Alexandra Cranford will tell us.
And more coverage of today's inauguration celebration.
But first, is LSU really handicapped accessible? That's next on Newsbeat.
Welcome back to Newsbeat. Handicapped students sometimes have it hard getting around campus.
But Tiger TV's Roya Sorrells reports the university is trying to change that.
Many handicapped students have a difficult time accessing certain buildings on campus. Since some of the buildings do not have elevators, administrators rely on program access. Benjamin Cornwell and Disability Services utilize program access as a way for students to be included.
It's what we refer to within Disability Services program access, whereas you're making the program accessible but not necessarily every single physical location.
Program access allows many handicapped students to participate in academic activities but is not a favored option for disability services.
But the state could have done a better job, in my opinion, of allocating funds to make more of the facilities accessible instead of relying strictly on program access.
Located upstairs is LSU's Foreign Language Lab, which is a requirement for some classes. This is a problem, however, because Prescott Hall does not have an elevator. Mike Dettinger, director of the Foreign Language Lab, has wanted to add an elevator to Prescott Hall for some time.
But from what I know, the building, it is a historical building, and I've talked to the building coordinator about attempts to get that, and apparently the bureaucracy and the loopholes that need to go through because it is a historical building.
Since Prescott Hall is classified as a historical building, it would be rather difficult to add on an elevator. So handicapped students rely on the downstairs lab, which is smaller than the other 4 labs upstairs. For Tiger TV, I am Roya Sorrells, Eye on LSU.
Cromwell said the Office of Disability Services is also trying to get a wheelchair-accessible elevator in Allen Hall.
Financial times are tough, and now LSU has announced some harsh cuts to its budget. Chancellor Michael Martin sent out an announcement to LSU faculty, staff, and students last week about the cuts in this year's state funding. The school will cut its budget according to a system proposal of somewhere between 19 and 32%. The chancellor warns that these cuts will have, quote, dramatically negative impacts on our students, faculty, staff, campus, and all others we serve, end quote.
If bird watching doesn't bring you much excitement, then the LSU Museum of Natural Science will spark some enthusiasm. Bird species from all over the world exist right here on campus. LSU has the 4th largest bird collection in the world. Museum director Dr. Sheldon says there are 180,000 specimens of birds in the museum. A large majority of these birds are collected from foreign countries like Malaysia. After the birds are captured in nets, they're killed, dried out, and then shipped to the U.S. Collections manager Donna Dittman spends the majority of her days stuffing these exotic species.
The whole process starts with weighing the bird and logging it into your catalog. And then once you have that all set up in your tubes and your vials ready to go, then you make an incision in the breast, and then you slowly, carefully take the body out from inside the skin.
Dr. Dittman says that after the birds are cleaned of all organs, they're then filled with cotton. It's been pretty chilly lately outside. Alex, tell us, how long will this weather last?
Well, we've got a couple more days like what we've seen lately, but things may change once we hit the weekend. I'll tell you more coming up next on Newsbeat.